I used to think life had a rhythm you could count on. Wake up, go to work, pay the bills, maybe have a little treat on the weekend. For 15 years, that rhythm kept me steady. I worked at a food processing plant in Dayton, Ohio. Every morning, I punched in at 6 a.m. and came home tired, but proud. It wasn't exciting, but it was ours. Then one morning, the plant shut down for good. I walked out with a cardboard box holding everything I'd collected over the years, a coffee mug, a couple photos of my son Liam, and the pin they gave me at my 10-year mark. That day, it felt like the floor dropped out from under me. Liam, my 13-year-old, didn't cry or panic. He walked into the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water, and said, "Mom, we'll figure it out." His voice was calm, too calm for someone his age. Later, I found him on his phone, looking serious. "I posted my bike online," he said. "I priced it lower than the others so it sells fast. We can use the money for bills until you find another job." My heart sank. "Liam, no. You love that bike. You ride it every day." He just shrugged. "It's just a bike. We can get another one later. You always say we don't lie to each other, right? So I'm not going to pretend I don't see what's going on. We need money, and I can help." I hugged him so tight he could barely breathe. "I'll find something soon," I whispered. But inside, I wasn't so sure. It wasn't just the bills. It was Gerald, my grandfather who raised me after my parents died. He lived in a care home because of his Alzheimer's. I visited every week, even when he didn't remember me. Each visit hurt, but I never showed it. He had carried me through my hardest times, and I couldn't walk away from him now. That evening, Liam and I walked past stores with help wanted signs. None paid enough to cover both rent and the care home. Liam was quiet until he said, "Maybe we should move to a bigger city. There are more jobs there." I sighed. "I've thought about it. But what about Grandpa? He's already so lost. If we leave, how will he feel when we stop visiting?" Liam's face tightened. "Sometimes he doesn't even remember we came." I stopped walking. "Don't say that. He raised me when I had no one. We're not abandoning him." He nodded, but didn't say anything else. I could feel what he wasn't saying, because I was thinking the same thing. Staying might break us just as much as leaving. That night, after Liam went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table staring at the bills. I felt hopeless for the first time in years. The house was quiet, just the hum of the old fridge. That's when the memories started creeping in, memories I thought I buried. I married Liam's father, Andre, when I was 21. He was a stunt motorcyclist, all charm and energy. I met him at a local show, and 2 weeks later, we were inseparable. In 3 weeks, we were engaged. My grandfather didn't approve. "Men like him don't settle," he warned. I didn't listen. I was too in love. At first, it felt like a dream. But Andre lived for movement and attention, always on the road. I stayed behind, trying to build a home. When I got pregnant, I thought it would change things. I hoped he'd slow down and stay. He just looked at the test and said, "Your call. Come on tour or stay here." I stayed. When Liam was born, I was alone. Andre sent money for a while, called sometimes, even mailed a few toys. But then the calls stopped. One day, someone from his crew called to apologize and told me Andre had been with someone else for months. Said he told people our marriage was a mistake he fixed early. I filed for divorce. He didn't fight it. He didn't even call to ask about Liam. Since then, my world was Liam and Grandpa. I didn't date. I didn't think about it. I worked, paid bills, took care of what needed to be done. Life was simple, lonely, but predictable. Until the factory closed. Now I had no job, no savings, no backup plan. No partner. No one but a son who was growing up faster than I ever wanted and a grandfather who didn't always remember me. I realized I'd been standing still too long, clinging to the only steady thing I had. But now, there was nothing left to hold on to. I had to move. I didn't know where or how, but I had to. The next morning, I woke to the smell of pancakes. Liam stood at the stove, flipping them like he'd been doing it forever. That I woke up to the smell of pancakes and the sound of Liam humming a tune I didn't recognize. For a moment, I just watched him. This boy deserved more than overdue bills and a tired mom who barely had energy to talk. "Mom, look at this," he said, sliding his phone across the counter. It was a job posting, full-time housekeeper needed at a private estate near Lake Michigan. Housing included. Good pay. Housekeeper? I asked, blinking. Yeah, it's perfect, he said. No rent. Better pay than anything here. Plus, it's near the lake, you love the lake. He grinned like he'd already solved everything. Liam, I've never done that kind of work. I wouldn't even know where to start. It's cleaning, Mom. You do it here every day and you're good at it. We could visit Grandpa twice a month. It's not that far. Then he added quietly, I don't want to see you this stressed anymore. Those words hit hard. I wanted to say everything would be fine, that something better would come along. But we'd been waiting, and nothing had come. Are you sure about this? I asked. He nodded. I'm serious. If you don't like it, we can come back. But at least try. I can switch to online school. My chest tightened. He was only 13, already ready to give up things for me. No, I said quickly. You're not giving up your school. We'll figure something out. That night, I filled out the application. The next day, I got a call from a woman named Marilyn. She was polite but straight to the point. When I mentioned I had a teenage son, she said, we can arrange for him to stay too. He can even help out part-time, if he wants. 2 days later, we boarded a train. I packed only what we needed, some clothes, Liam's laptop, and my old guitar. It had been gathering dust for years, but I brought it anyway. Something told me it mattered. Before we left, we visited Grandpa. He sat by the window, a blanket over his shoulders. Grandpa, we're moving for work, I said gently, kneeling beside him. But we'll visit. I promise. He blinked, eyes focusing just a little. Sasha and little Jenna, he murmured. It's Megan, Grandpa. And this is Liam. He smiled faintly and squeezed my hand. Be happy, sweetheart. On the train, Liam squeezed my shoulder. This is going to be good, Mom. I can feel it. I wanted to believe him. The estate appeared out of the trees like something from a magazine. Modern, clean lines mixed with rustic charm. Marilyn told us it used to be a farm but had been turned into a retreat for the owner, Daniel Hayes, a big-name director known for music videos and commercials. I'd heard the name but never paid attention to celebrity news. She showed us to our space, a simple but nice 2-room suite in one wing of the estate. Liam bounced onto the bed, wide-eyed. Mom, this place is insane. Look at the view. Lake Michigan shimmered through the window. For a moment, I let myself feel a little hope. Marilyn leaned in and said quietly, one thing, you should know Daniel can be intense. Creative, smart, but moody. Don't take it personally. I nodded, unsure what to expect. That evening, I was cleaning the large living room, which was bigger than our old apartment, when I heard a voice behind me. You know that's an original piece, right? Not something from a discount store. I turned quickly. A tall man with sharp blue eyes and perfect hair leaned against the doorway. He looked younger than I imagined, late 30s, maybe, but carried himself like someone used to getting his way. I'm sorry, I stammered. He smirked. Careful is good. Criticism, though? Optional. I blinked, confused, until I saw the TV behind him playing one of his videos, the same one I had quietly commented on earlier, not knowing anyone was around. Relax, he said, folding his arms. I've got critics for that. But it's refreshing to hear what the help thinks. Heat rushed to my cheeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Hayes. Daniel's fine. And for the record, you clean well. Keep it up, we'll get along. Then he walked off, leaving me embarrassed and annoyed. That night, Liam came back from exploring. His cheeks were flushed with excitement. Mom, guess who I met? Daniel. He's actually cool. He asked what music I liked and said I could see his studio sometime. The same Daniel? I asked, surprised. Liam grinned. Maybe he just doesn't like grown-ups. Over the next few days, I focused on learning the job, what to clean, what products to use, when to stay invisible. Daniel didn't speak much, but when he did, it was with sarcasm that left me unsure how to respond. Liam, on the other hand, had clearly won him over. They'd talk outside in the garden or sit at the piano in the evenings. I once saw Daniel showing him chords, Liam hanging on every word. I tried to keep my distance. I was there to work, nothing more. But sometimes, I'd pass Daniel's office and hear him playing guitar, soft and slow. There was something in the way he played, something lonely. I knew that feeling. Soon, the estate started to feel like it had a rhythm of its own. I woke early each day and got to work, feeling something I hadn't in a long time. Stability. Not perfect, not easy, but something steady enough to start again. Made coffee in a kitchen twice the size of my old apartment, and started my chores, polishing the grand windows, dusting shelves filled with books I wasn't sure anyone had read, and making sure the linen smelled like spring no matter what time of year it was. It was harder work than I expected, but there was something steadying about it. I didn't have to think about layoffs or unpaid bills. I just had to make things shine. Liam thrived. He pitched in, helping the groundskeeper move supplies or running errands for Marilyn. In the evenings, he'd talk non-stop about Daniel, who somehow seemed to have adopted him as a sort of unofficial apprentice. Mom, did you know he built a whole recording studio here? It's like legit pro level. He said I could watch him mix a track next week. I tried to smile, though part of me worried. Just don't bother him too much, okay? Liam rolled his eyes. He invited me, Mom. It was true. Daniel had taken a liking to Liam almost immediately, offering him little tasks, fetching cables, helping tune instruments, even letting him sit in during brainstorming sessions. Me, I mostly stayed out of Daniel's way. He had a reputation for mood swings, and I'd seen glimpses of them. Days when he barely noticed me, except to mutter a sarcastic remark, and other days when he'd unexpectedly soften, asking if I needed anything or if Liam was doing okay. One afternoon, I walked past his office and heard a sound that made me pause. Guitar strings soft, melancholic. I peeked in. Daniel sat hunched over an old acoustic guitar, playing something slow and haunting, nothing like the flashy pop songs I'd seen in his videos. His head was bowed, eyes closed, as if he was somewhere far away. When he noticed me, he stopped abruptly. Need something? I froze, embarrassed. No, sorry. I was just passing by. He nodded, face unreadable. Close the door on your way out. I did. But the sound of that song stayed with me all night. For the first time since we'd arrived, I felt something unexpected. Curiosity. There was more to Daniel Hayes than the sharp-tongued boss who made me blush in our first meeting. Beneath the polished exterior and expensive taste, there was sadness. And, if I was honest, I understood it. After all, I'd been living with my own for years, covering it up with work and responsibility until there was nothing left of me outside being someone's mom or someone's employee. Liam saw none of that. To him, this place was adventure, and Daniel was someone worth admiring. Maybe he was right. Maybe we'd both misjudged what we were stepping into. One afternoon, while I was folding laundry in the staff room, Marilyn walked in with an envelope in her hand. Special delivery, she said, placing it on the counter with a little smile. Inside was a cream-colored card with embossed lettering. You are cordially invited to the 40th birthday celebration of Daniel Hayes. The location, a high-end restaurant on the lakefront. The kind of place I'd only ever seen in magazines. Transportation provided. Dress code formal. I stared at it. Is this a mistake? Nope. He told me to make sure you and Liam got one, Marilyn said. Consider it a perk of the job. A perk or setup. The first thing I thought was, why me? Daniel barely tolerated me on his best days. Sure, he liked Liam, but me. We spoke in short sentences and awkward silences. Why invite us to a room full of wealthy, polished people who had nothing in common with a housekeeper and her teenage son? That evening, I told Liam. His eyes lit up instantly. A party? That's awesome. I've never been to one of those fancy places before. I hesitated. I don't know, Liam. It feels weird. Like maybe we'll stick out. So what? Who cares if we do? Mom, come on. This is a chance to have fun for once. He paused, then grinned mischievously. And I already have an idea for your gift to him. I raised an eyebrow. Gift? Yeah. You're going to sing for him. I blinked. Excuse me. You still have that guitar, right? I've heard you play, Mom. You're really good. Trust me, he'll love it. The thought of standing in front of strangers and singing made my stomach twist. Liam, I haven't performed in years. I can't just you can, he interrupted firmly. Besides, it's personal. Everyone else will probably bring expensive wine or gadgets. You'll give him something real. He had that determined look that reminded me so much of my younger self before life had dulled the edges. The next day, Liam somehow managed to get us formal clothes on loan from a local boutique. One night rental, he said proudly, holding up a sleek black dress for me and a crisp suit for himself. They look perfect, don't they? I laughed softly, shaking my head. How did I raise such a planner? I had to, Mom, he said with a shrug. You've been doing it alone for 13 years. Someone's got to have your back. His words hit me harder than I expected. The night before the party, I took my old guitar out of its case. My fingers stumbled over the chords at first, but muscle memory kicked in, pulling me back to evenings when music filled the air, and I still believed in dreams. Still, anxiety gnawed at me. What if he laughs? What if this is some twisted joke to embarrass me in front of his friends? But then I thought of Liam, his belief, his pride, and decided, even if it was a joke at home, I had high in play. The night of the party felt unreal, like we had stepped into someone else's life. The restaurant sat right on the lakefront, its floor-to-ceiling windows reflecting the city lights dancing over the water. A valet opened the door for us as if we were celebrities. And Liam grinned like he had been born for moments like this. Mom, you look amazing, he whispered as we walked through the entrance. For once, I almost believed him. The black dress fit better than I expected. Simple, but elegant, paired with the light makeup Marilyn had insisted on helping me with. Inside, I spotted Daniel immediately. He was laughing with a group of well-dressed guests, his presence commanding without him even trying. When he saw us, his eyes flickered with something I couldn't read. Surprise. Amusement. But then he smiled. Glad you made it, he said, almost warmly. The night flowed around me like I was in a dream. People toasted Daniel, praising his career, his generosity,